Don't just rush us. These are critical things. You know all the soil types in Ghana, don't you? You have the soil maps. So you should tell us something. How much barrage would I need for the soil type that's in Ashanti? It's fine.
And it's a range because all the stores are different.
If you talk about habitat, you already know what
no, but we can easily convert it to it.
So tell the peasant farmers that are here, how much do I need for an acre?
For an acre, we will get to
Let's tell us how population is That's what we have talking about. They are the family. Soil type.
One day we are lucky. The linkages and the institutions. It's like each of them is not getting that. We are very yes, we need to link them up so that ultimately the farmer can benefit. Because maybe you are doing excellent work, you have provided very good service, but the end that is not getting to the end user.
In Accra.
Break your name. No.
It makes you come back. Come here. 6 months back tonight. We did 12
Yes, we need this last year. So is it gene modified? How do you get I know I've been on my own. And I think Professor Mariam Quick, Deputy Director. I'm a champion. Victor was my very judgment. The promotion goes to her. She has been worrying her. And I want to see her.
And then you met them
What about this one?
Yeah, this one is seed protected.
But you have different colors.
Yeah, and this one is orange. This one is this one has antioxidant. This one has vitamin A. Yeah, but what we do at the crop is to produce them in glass, in tea, because it might suffer from toxicity. So when we finish, then we produce for farmers. Yeah. Because like for most of the vegetables, when they use the planting material to buy they don't do that, but I don't want that.
Where can I locate you?
At Kumasi.
Yes. I want to have some for my
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, this one is step leg. Yes. This one has the antioxidant. It's good for your heart and all that. And this one has the vitamin A, which is good for children and for your eyes, and also for pregnant women. Yeah. And it's very useful in vulnerable populations where they have disaster. Yes, what the community.
These are also greens and beans.
Some of the varieties. We have the maize, we have the yellow maize, the white one, the cloud, the granuts, and then the rice varieties.
I should have asked this guy question, but I'm going to how climate resilient are these?
Okay, so most of the time we test it over all the environments in Ghana. So specific varieties, we can talk of specific varieties that are drought tolerant, specific varieties that are nitrogen usage. So for example, the rice, you have an apahi. So we have rice varieties that are good for low nitrogen soils. Yes, because we know that the farmers sometimes cannot apply the recommended. So there's a big focus on climate smart, and we are even doing more now for our next generation of varieties.
Ghana.
Yes, it's peanuts. Anyhow, so we have the confectionery ones which are bigger. So we work on all the food crops.
Red.
This is beans. Yeah, red beans. It's not
Then this we have here is a zero energy cooling chamber, which is a post-harvest technology. So it reduces post-harvest losses. So you keep in the vegetables, and this sun here in between the lens is serve as a cooling system to cools the vegetables. So you have to cover it with catch so that it reduces the amount of food that enters. Cover it with catch. Then you sprinkle water on it, then it can serve as a cooling system for storage of the vegetables. Yes. So usually we recommend this for small scale farmers, small to medium scale, where they can use it in their farm. Then they can store it when there's excess food, they store it before they go and sell it. Yes. So if you put in quality vegetables, for example, the tomato can cost like 14 and you can extra for, but if you have to keep quality vegetables, you will be able to maintain the quality of the vegetables.
The market woman who said tomatoes do this for 14 days. Not the best tomatoes.
For the retailers, the wholesalers, they can also, if there's space for them, they can also do it.
And actually, installation space is in fact. So there's a nice and it lasts for so they're just like your back.
Get all of these materials into the hands of farmers.
All I want to do is to ensure all year round tomato production. So we link them up with GOFA and the farmers so that they will not also compete. We have a command line for students here and all those. We go one season. These varieties throughout the whole year. That's the major task projects.
Punyana.
Right. We good. Yes. Ghana Meteorological Agency.
I work with the government. So we try to relate weather issues mainly to we all understand that climate some are saying climate is changing. We are going to understand. But the most critical one is not just the change, but the variability. How onset dates keep on shifting. How the rainfall season patterns have become very erratic. That is why we come in to support our needs. We generate at our level onset dates for all regions, all major regions, where we try as much as possible to communicate with the directors of extension, all the products that we do, so that the farmers will be able to time the harvest. Because there are times the rains can come and start, but the rains hasn't really settled. And farmers will go and plant and rain harvest. But if you understand the time that the rain starts at like 6, where they can use it for meaningful within the season, I would like to encounter more days when the rain starts. So that if it is going to be too long, we begin to think about varieties that you need to meet, choice that you need to make, or shifting all together from one farming activity to another farming activity, something that is really difficult to find. But if we understand the data, we understand what we are feeling, it's not a too difficult for us to make changes. Yes, you can get it on the mobile phone. We deal mostly with app. We've not developed an app yet.
So now I want to help us out. Asking them to get closer to the farm. I want to donate harvest and process. That's why we are what is that? Yes. Farm is something specific. So we are planning new weather stations.
You go right. This Ghana irrigation project. When you go right, when it matures, this ball harvest. This ball is packed. The nails is coming to the time. I think the product is possible. Satellite stations. Right. It's very important what we do as a team. And let me tell you, through one of my projects that I was doing with the Netherlands government, we train Tibet. It's a minimum. We've heard about them. Cancer and all those people. Train them to do modeling. Because that time you have information you don't even know how to do them. And we needed that to coordinate to do scenarios for the country where to look at projections into the future. 2050, look at impacts on various sectors. How is that information made available to our policy makers? We didn't know. All these things. So in the next 10 years, what is the impact of climate on cocoa? Do the policy makers know?
So at the moment, I'll not be able to answer that.
I don't need an answer.
Exactly.
Yes. I don't need an answer. That's where we need to go. So we can have proper link or linkage with research and policy. But these are very important and it's local. You're not going to depend on anybody. FAO, they are good, they are helping us, but we can do it here for our own people. Let's get this
that one we already have enough. We started modeling. We are modeling
the population issues of population.
While they're developing the EPA is give them weather forecast and then alert people when they are leaving how this house. You can also start the why in my region is EPA that is doing. Maybe they take the information from you. Because maybe they take the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Right. If you're doing it, it's not getting to the people.
Right. And they are taking the credit from you.
and we'll also,
if you are doing it,
we'll also fall on you and I'm also support us.
Okay. Right. Oh, okay. Jump on board.
Yes.
Tell us.
Yeah, so basically we have three types of so we have the surface irrigation. That is where you are not applying external energy. So because of climate change, currently we try to harvest whatever runoff being generated out of the rainfall. And so we harvest it into a dam or a reservoir. And so we create the irrigable area where you can get rice, mainly we grow rice for the surface irrigation. And so we have a system of this nature where when our dam is filled with capacity, the water can easily fill spill. And enjoy the natural conditions. We have the drain, the main drain, and these are filled. So when we want to irrigate it, we only block this water just to drain level. So it goes through the lateral and comes. If you want to drain, you drain. And then we have the drip zone. Let's finish it.
Areas that are
I earlier said that we have different types of spillways. And possible the spillway is something that you need to, it's a gate that you need to open for the water to spill. But this is a natural spillway. We call it chute spillways. And so once the water rises to this level, it begins to spill by itself. So it doesn't allow a build up more than the channel can be. So for them, this is for agricultural purposes. For them, they need the same. Water that's goes
Can we increase this point? This is the taking into account the potential so there's no Madam President, have you done any estimation? The methane emission.
Okay, so yeah, so what we do is that there's a system we call alternative wetting and drying. So we irrigate as when we want to. Because we are
methane emission. Because we want to produce. That's how we want to produce rice. And then we don't want to force it.
Yes, it's about a couple of things.
Exactly. I'm coming there. I'm talking about emissions. Make sure the plant is the water. But most of it, our farmers will just plant and say they want to give them automation. Instead of that, water plant. Maybe a food automated system through the water plant. So at the moment, before increase of the plant has to test for the water plant. Yes, now that the water is being found in the water, there are two facts. Human product. Otherwise, if you do that one, you save the environment. The bank must. But I don't think that it's going to be and that's additional revenue for farmers. And that also shows please, let's apply
Oh, that was rich again. Oh, BBC. BBC. Oh, for this. Okay. And I'm very good. Yeah. All right. Let's go. Okay, so Boris, we check it. And now we do our own feed. Yeah, so we see to the ingredients in the feed. Specific, what you want to produce organic chicken. Organic and then of course halal for the sake of our Muslim brothers. And then as well as we don't use antibiotics, we don't use steroids, we don't use any chemicals because there are health benefits. So I'm leaving it good, not for any better stuff. So as you can see here, and I will have yes, so if you have a workers, the whole team, I mean, we all couldn't come here. So this is the chicken that we produce. So this is the chicken. And this chicken that, as you can see, yeah, it's fresh. When you cook it, it doesn't shrink. It's still the same. Unlike those ones which has been boosted with steroids and stuff. When you cook it, it shrinks. But here, it's still organic and it's always fresh because there is no chemicals to preserve it. How much is this? We are trying to promote it in such a way that, we don't lose market. It's 70 cents. When you go out there, your promotion, what is the real cost? The real cost is around 115 a car, for instance, 180, and then of course 120, 150, depending on the farmer. But with the support of FSRP at this moment, we are going to do our best. We don't lose our Sajiman. No. He's seriously happy.
That is not sustainable.
Yes, boss.
After looking at subsidy, let's remove that and look at the actual farm.
Look at the whole value chain. The project need to analyze see where you can be more efficient. That's why we're going to work with them. Sit down and go through the numbers. And that is our major task for this project.
At the moment, production is very tough, and so that's what they're coming with BBC. With BBC, yes. But then we are praying that we can,
And you are in Ashanti.
I'm Ashanti. Oh, base here.
No, I don't.
Hey. Must. Yes, boss. Fish. Any cool. Shell. And the Prempeh College. We don't was one thing that's about it.
When you free move. We'll talk about it.
We bring it back. 89 was. 89.
I thought you did.
Yes, of course. Yes.
I taught A-level chemistry.
Yes.
Oh, at Prempeh College.
I know very well. That's why I'm bowing. We are one of your products first. And this is what we have done. So we grill them at the back.
Why are the team being?
This is what we done. We grill them at the back. It's being grilled because of the packaging and stuff. So we try to cover the grilling part, and this is what we have. We'll package some for the car and about to leave. Yes, boss.
And after that, come home and let's talk Prempeh College. I'm looking for some of my boys. I don't.
I'll bring them. We have a party on 29th December. Yes. Foju and all the rest.
Yes, and this other guy.
Ajibaya. Yeah, all around. I'll make an announcement to them. Thank you very much.
Always the deal.
These are the workers.
Very good.
This is our branding manager. This is our lady who takes care of all the grill aspects.
Oh, wow. And who is the marketing?
Marketing. Where is he? Kofi? Yeah. That's the marketing. And then all this are all Doppler.
I haven't heard about this. Beyond it. So it means
that's my daughter here.
Got to make more noise.
My daughter here.
Oh, I see.
That's my son.
That's your son. So it's a family business.
She's doing veterinary in Kane University, and she's going also for business as well. Yes, he's a graduate from Kane University, the production manager. Yeah. So all the killing, he's the killer.
Last station.
They are all very pleased. No, what products living in the
100% made in Ashanti.
Yes.
Ashanti region manufacturer.
So tell us over.
So liquid organic fertilizer, also pest repellent, very, very cost effective, 100% made in Ashanti. And can be used either as a booster with reduced NPK. Either the booster with reduced NPK. The truth is, synthetic fertilizer now loses money from this farm. So the strategy is fast. You can follow it for the last 2 years. But by either reducing it with a booster or using our product, they're highly profitable for farmers. So we're following a strategy at the moment which loses money for farmers when we have products that enables us to make it highly profitable. We should do it. And we're doing it. We're the Ghana made fertilizer of the year in 2023. We're projecting. I believe we're probably making Ghana manufacturing of organic fertilizer. But to be honest, that's still small. Most of but we can make enough here in Ashanti to supply 100% to Ghana fertilizer. Because this 1 liter is enough for 2 liters a year. And we can produce 1.5 million liters a year here in Ashanti. So we can cater for 3 million SMEs of cereals. So in other words, we can solve Ghana's fertilizer and save farmers a lot of money and save the country a lot of money. I know not everyone is happy about saving the country, but we are happy. We are happy. Everybody is. This is one of our products. These are
Come to the office. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So Ashanti will be the powerhouse of Ghana's agriculture going forward.
Agriculture.
Sure, agribusiness. Yeah, sure. No, but you need the product to do the business. Thank you so
Please be seated. Echamfo Asafu Wachi Ajimabos Asafu Hini.
Représentant de la communauté économique des États de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, M. Gassou Diarra, Project Coordinator of FSRP, Mr. Osei Ajiman, Chief Directors, Chief Executives of Implementing Partners, colleagues of the Fourth Estate, energetic youth of Asante Mine, distinguished invited guests. Bonjour, je m'appelle Emmanuel L. Ankra, ici avec ma belle collègue Mamiama Asantiwa Adjem. Et au nom du ministère de l'Agricole, de la Banque mondiale et de la communauté économique des États de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, nous vous remercions d'avoir accepté notre invitation et vous souhaitons la bienvenue au lancement du projet de résilience du système alimentaire en Afrique de l'Ouest, PRSA. My name is Emmanuel L. Ankra, here with my pretty colleague Mamiama Asanti Adjem. And on behalf of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the World Bank, and the Economic Community of West African States, we'd like to thank you for accepting our invitation and welcome you to this launch of FSRP. I don't think they got the memo, did they?
No, they didn't.
They didn't get a memo. Okay, you know, right here, this time, the point that we will say FSRP is where we applaud loudly, whistle, scream, and applaud even louder because it is take-off time. So let's try that one more time. Please sit up, chest out. Distinguished invited guests, my name is Emmanuel Elankra, here with my beautiful colleague, Mamiama Asantiaje, Ajem, on behalf of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the World Bank, and the Economic Community of West African States. We'd like to thank you for accepting our invitation and welcome to this extraordinary launch of the West Africa Food System Resilience Project, FSRP.
Earl, now they got it.
They got a member.
Yes. Nananom, abain penyin for yeshiamuha. And we are nomni adophonum. Ayame fe, ayame nichi, ayame ahuahua. Say a tune safremu. Mam pupumuti. Name momunina mabade or do ebebe or domu. Ama enejumadi ayebedie, aye krabeshe. Yamamunina akwaba. Onyankupon onshramu. Like Earl said, my name is Mamiama Santwa Ajim, and I am your co-host for today's event. The theme for this event is Joining Forces for Food System Risk Management in West Africa. Now, we are joining forces in West African level, which involves the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, West and Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development, CORAF, and the Permanent Interstate Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel, SILS. And then when it comes to the national level, we are joining forces among implementing institutions and agencies under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, JIDA, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, Ghana Meteorological Authority, GMET, and we are building synergies and working hand in hand to tackle food system risk in Ghana and the sub-region. Before we continue, it's prudent and important that we welcome the presence of the Almighty God. And to do this, let's welcome Reverend Augustus Harry Awatri to lead us in the opening prayer.
Shall we, with due respect, perhaps standing as we thank God for? Thank you very much. Our living and mighty God, we want to thank you this morning. The brightness of the day, we're grateful to you. Traveling mercies you've granted your people from far and near, protection. That we are here, we say thank you, Lord. When you gave us this earth, you said we should work on it, and that this earth should sustain us. Anything that will work against it, all risk must be managed. So we thank you for this body, and we thank you for this meeting. We trust in the Lord, you give us all the wisdom that we need, that indeed the earth will be able to sustain us, that we'll be able to have the food that we need for us to move forward. So we invite your presence. Be with us at this lunch. And at the end of it all, let's all be able to say, because of your presence, it's been a success. We thank you that you even heard us before we offer this prayer, as this prayer is being given you in the name above all other names. Amen. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you. Before we introduce our chairman, a couple of quick announcements. In a few moments, this event will be coming to you live on Ghana television across the nation. We should have connected at 10 o'clock, but they had to switch over so that now they will be connecting with us. And indeed, of course, some of us are just walking in, but the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation has been with us since dawn. Today, in conjunction with this event, the People's Breakfast Show on GTV was brought live right here from Asante Mine in this hall, Prempeh Assembly Hall, and they were going back and forth. Indeed, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation has been very faithful to issues connected to agriculture, and let's give them a big appreciation. And please help me recognize my naughty colleague here, the Director of Television, Mr. George Mensah Lomote over there. Teshin. He's representing the Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Professor Amin. Okay, and speaking of the breakfast show, they've grown, I say this with a lot of pride, that the breakfast show has grown bigger and better time after time. And because it's something to be proud of, at home, I like to associate myself with the breakfast show, but there's one problem. My kids don't believe I used to host the show. Those little rascals, whenever I say, oh, I used to be on the breakfast show, they roll across the floor and laugh hysterically. But you bear me witness, right? I was hosting the show with my colleague Akushika Akwe. How many remember that? The ones you all thought was my lover. I knew it. You know, one of the focus areas of FSRP is poultry. And I must confess, I love Ifi Akuko, but not in the sense that you were thinking. I never chew them. And if social media were very vibrant in those days, it would have been grilling hot like Boris B chicken and Akuko Tasty. They are here, and after the event, the exhibition will be continuing. So whoever is at home and whoever is here can go out there and join. Speaking of social media, we are streaming live on Facebook. Go to FSRP Ghana, and we are there. Comment, like, and share. It is pretty new, so we need your participation there to make it pop. Not just that, we're also streaming live on 6 different platforms in 6 different languages. It is a requirement of FSRP from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the World Bank, and ECOWAS that our message goes as far and as wide and in as many languages as possible. So you can follow us at FSRP Hausa, FSRP Akan, FSRP Dagbani, FSRP Ga, and FSRP Eve. You go there and comment and join. If you want to also follow in French, we're there, PRXA, Français, Ghana, and you can follow this. This is happening live. They are translating what we are doing here. Normally in public functions, they will wait for the speaker to finish and then they summarize. But this is like a conference. They are translating as we are going on, step after step. So there you go. It's been a lot of problems because Facebook was like, who is this organization that has opened so many accounts? So they kept blocking us. But you have to prove to Facebook that this is real. So go there, like, comment. And when you comment, please don't comment in English. When you are on FSRP account, comment in Akan. If you are in FSRP Dagbani, you comment in Dagbani. Otherwise, Facebook will block you. Okay. And also share among your platforms, your office platforms, your old school platforms, and your church platforms. The house of God must hear about us. And speaking of God, we invited God to lead us. But how does God do that practically, Mami?
Oh, you know that God chooses people from amongst us to do his work for him. And this morning, we are honored and privileged to have a phenomenal guest in our midst. He's the one God has chosen to chair this event. The chairman for this event was installed as the Asafohene Akwemuhene on 17th December 2020. He is the president of the Akwemu Divisional Council, Kumasi. He was a diplomat and manager for mitigation and transparency support sub-program of the United Nations Climate Change Secretariat, Bonn, Germany. His technical interest is to assist developing countries to transition to net zero greenhouse gas emitting societies by promoting the transitioning to hydrogen-based economies. He joined the United Nations Climate Change Secretariat in July 2010, and in 1987 to 1990, he was a senior tutor at the Prempeh College, teaching advanced level chemistry. Aman for Wahana. Okay, we have a few. All right. Great. He holds a master's degree in chemical engineering from the Norwegian Institute of Science and Technology. He's also a certified member of the FSRP Grievance Committee representing the Menchia Palace. He is married and has 2 children and also is blessed with 3 amazing grandchildren. Today, he is representing His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II Asantehene. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's give honor to whom honor is due. Please, may we all be upstanding as we welcome the chairman for this launch, Achamfuo Asafo Boakye Agyeman Bonsu. Please, let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. The MCs, I think you're doing a great work. Yeah. And thank you for bringing us all together. The World Bank, tax leader, yeah. The regional minister, and let me say, for the purpose of time and to save time, the entire FSRP project team. We welcome you all to Kumasi, certainly the citadel of the Asante Kingdom. And I'm proud to accept to chair this function and to see to the launch of this project. Now I will tend to open or make my opening remarks. And I'm going to be long because this project needs a lot of talking to make it worthwhile in terms of transforming the country. It is with great pleasure that I deliver these opening remarks for and on behalf of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the Asantehene, and also use this occasion once again to officially welcome you to Kumasi. I understand this food system resilience program aims at strengthening the West African sub-region's food system risk management, improve the sustainability of the productive base in targeted areas, and to develop regional agricultural markets. It is also seeking to contribute to enhancing the capacity of vulnerable households, families, and communities, and food systems within the country to face uncertainty and the risks of shocks, as well as to withstand and respond effectively to shocks, and to recover and adapt in a sustainable manner. The FSRP must, and I say must, also purposefully provide for resilient food systems infrastructure to build resilience in the middle of the food supply chain, to provide more and better markets to small farms and food businesses, to support the development of value-added products for consumers, for fair prices, for fair wages, and to create new, decent, and quality job opportunities. The resilient food systems infrastructure, if accepted by the program, or at least in the next design of the program, should create more and better processing, aggregation, and distribution options for local and regional producers across the agricultural and its allied sectors. There is the need to award funds to project participants and communities that maintain and improve food and agricultural supply chain resiliency. I will call for the creation of a competitive infrastructure grant awards to support infrastructure in the middle of the supply chain for domestic food and farm businesses and other eligible entities. Yeah. Middle of the supply chain activities include processing, aggregation, and or distribution of targeted agricultural products. As a country, we need to promote farming approaches that are inspired by natural ecosystems and which combine local and scientific knowledge and focus on the interaction between plants and animals, humans and the environment. We must also address the impact of food systems on our environment. And I'm bringing this to your notice this morning. According to the United Nations Environment Program, between 2000 and 2010, large-scale commercial agriculture accounted for 40% of tropical deforestation. So we are talking about agriculture impacts on the environment. And also local subsistence agriculture was not far behind. Local agricultural subsector accounted for another 33% in terms of deforestation. But human food systems depend on biodiversity to function. The conventional food systems reduce biodiversity, effectively destroying their own foundation. And this is what the FSRP must avoid. Intensive farming also plays a role in the emergence of zoonotic diseases, as we've seen recently, like the COVID-19. Clearing space for agriculture can reduce natural buffers that protect humans from viruses and other pathogens circulating among wildlife. And pathogens spread even more easily among intensively farmed flocks and herds with genetic similarities, particularly when they are kept in close proximity. The demand for food is projected to increase by 60% by 2050. This means that the decision we make today will have an enormous impact on the food security and, by extension, on the environment, on the economy, on our health, on our education, in fact, on peace and human rights. Specifically, the global food systems must be transformed to achieve two purposes. The first, it must ensure that food and nutritional security are out and end to hunger once and for all. Secondly, it must reverse the degradation that human actions have caused, and by that means also restore ecosystems. In fact, deep transformations of food systems architecture are needed to ensure long-term sustainability. A combination of demand and supply-based measures can deliver various social, economic, and other social objectives. This includes, among others, widespread adoption of sustainable production practices, environmental conservation and regeneration, dietary shifts, reduction of food loss and waste, and improvements in economic and social justice along food supply chains. And I'm just proud to announce that even now I'm reducing my meat intake. That's the way we need to go. Live practical and meet the challenges of all the shocks that the FSRP seeks to address. According to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, and this is a very important thing that I would encourage you to note, over the past 100 years, more than 90% of crop varieties have disappeared. And today, only 9 plant species account for 66% of all crop produced by weight. So we're talking about 600 moving down only to 9. These 9 species, I will name them, are sugarcane, maize, rice, which is one of the focus of FSRP, wheat, potato, soybeans, oil palm, sugar beet, and cassava. The study found that while more than 6,000 plant species have been cultivated for food, just 9 account for 66% of the crop production, indicating widespread monoculture on farmers' fields. So, we seek to promote food security and sufficiency. We need to address the negative and unintended social, economic, and environmental impacts associated with the production of these 9 plant species that I've mentioned. And for the case of FSRP2, by ensuring that participating communities adopt responsible rice production and consumption to avoid the program contributing to ubiquitous health risks like diabetes, obesity, and malnutrition. I am surprised that the FSRP does not take advantage of the existing carbon markets to draw on additional financial flows to augment the perceived income of farmers and to contribute to the medium to long-term sustainability of the program. And I would encourage the project team to consider this. We are bound to create more secure and sustainable food systems. It's our obligation. Globally, more than 800 million people are going hungry. Yet almost 1/3 of food grown and produced is lost or wasted. Meanwhile, conflict, weather extremes, and economic shocks are causing production and supply chain issues that leave food systems vulnerable. By transforming how food is grown, produced, and consumed, we can create secure, sustainable, and resilient food systems. We need to reduce our emissions across the value chain. Ghana needs to reach a net zero greenhouse gas emission in the agricultural sector by 2030. With a similar aspiration across our value chain by 2050. Through a combination of reduction, mitigation, and compensation measures. We need farm-to-table change for the sake of our planet. And I've mentioned that what I'm doing. Year after year of record temperatures, floods, wildfires, pollution, and drought is very evident. Our planet just can't keep up. And feeding a population of nearly 10 million or 10 billion by 2050 will strain its resources further. How do we create resilient food systems that work for our planet? From farm to table, people are trying to ensure food security without destroying the planet. Biosolutions can be an agent for change. Farmers are on the front line of the planetary crisis. They are already adapting through climate-smart agriculture, But the challenge is growing. They need to get higher yields from the same land while struggling to make ends meet. This means producing food in the face of crisis. Food processing puts a heavy burden on the planet, and food processors work hard to reduce it. They strive to get the most from their raw materials while reducing their energy and water consumption. Consumers are having to face the reality of the climate change impacts on their diets. Retailers and consumers have to look for sustainable and alternative means of growing what we eat. We need to change our diet to protect the planet. Conflict is a social phenomenon. As long as societies exist, conflicts are bound to exist, or at least rise. Conflicts, especially the violent ones, can create insecurity, overstretch the resources of the state, retards self-improving human activity, and lead to underdevelopment and poverty. It leads to loss of lives and property, as well as displacement of people. Economically, conflicts have the tendency to distort investment plans and productivity within any given jurisdiction. Avoiding conflicts as part of risk management within this project is very strategic. Yet it is still an important endeavor which is long-term and certainly entails a lot of cost to project management. But conflict management is rather a win-win strategy that we must work on. I therefore applaud the management team of the FSRP for conceiving and establishing functional grievance committees in the context of this program to ensure that potential conflicts are identified early and named in the bud, or where identification in the very early stage is not possible, conflicts are effectively managed and or resolved to overcome unnecessary social, economic, and environmental losses. And I'm proud to have gained from that type of capacity enhancement from the program when we had a 3-day, I would say 40-hour training on alternative dispute resolution. The FSRP should also promote and enable digital transformation in the agricultural landscape with a view to optimize crop yields, improve food quality, and track farm-to-fork journeys to reduce the carbon footprint of all local rice production and consumption. All sectors are going through digital transformation, and I think agricultural production in Ghana must not be left behind. We need digital transformation in the agricultural sector to collect and analyze data to support evidence-based decision-making. Certainly, we can use IoT, and let me just be open with that, it's Internet of Things, to promote smart fields and smart irrigation practices. We need to promote smart farming as part of the FSRP to enhance farm yield and drive productivity. Optimize the potential of arable land while reducing wastage in water and energy supply. The FSRP must ensure proper land acquisition and management systems, including land certification and validation, and by respecting traditional land ownership within the project jurisdictions for peaceful investment venture. The agricultural sector in Ghana needs to start engaging in cloud computing. We went around with the exhibition and we could learn from GhanaMed or the GMed how much information is generated and how much such information is known to farmers. And how can we make such information available to the person on the farm? Internet-based is important. But I think now we have mobile systems. An app on my mobile phone would transform my farming activities in a great detail. An evolution towards real-time and predictive analytics powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning will put the agriculture sector in Ghana in a much better position to address the biggest challenges that we face in the agriculture sector. To conclude, I wish to emphasize the need to strengthen collaboration and partnerships for transformative action among all stakeholder groups. We saw that even though we have CSIR agencies standing there and sort of exhibiting products, what I got as an impression is that there's very little communication that goes on in terms of what each of them are doing to support the agricultural sector. And even with them and the Ministry of Agriculture in particular. And therefore, such stakeholder engagement and collaboration will be very, very important. I, on behalf of Otumfo, say to the second Asantehene, and in consonant with the people and participating communities in the Asante region, are grateful to the government of Ghana through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the Economic Committee of West African States, ECOWAS, the World Bank, the Permanent Interstate Committee for Drought Control in Sahel, SILS, and the West and Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development, CORAF, for their support and for selecting about 16 districts in Asante to be beneficiaries of this impactful program. On this note, I declare the event of the West African Food System Resilience Program in Ghana duly launched, and I thank you very much.
For Asafohini, Nana Piao, one ram, Edasi, Yamisha. Amen. To give us the welcome address is the Regional Director of Agric Ashanti Region, Reverend Dr. John Menu. Can we please give him a round of applause as he comes up stage?
Nana Chairman, Achamfo Asafuboachi Ajima Bonsu, Asafuhine and Akwamuhine of Asanteman. The Honorable Minister of Food and Agriculture has got an urgent call for a national assignment, and for that matter, his keynote address is going to be delivered by the Honorable Regional Minister. And for that matter, I'm standing in for the Honorable Regional Minister to deliver this welcome address. Achamfo Asafuboachi Ajimambonsu, Asafuhine and Akwamuhine of Asanteman, the Honorable Regional Minister, the Project Coordinator, FSRP, the Country Director of World Bank, representative of ECOWAS, distinguished invited guests, the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasant duty to join you this morning at this remarkable launch of the Food System Resilience Program FSRP. On behalf of the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, the chiefs and people of this region, I say that it is a great privilege for us as a region to host this very important program launch, which is set to address food and nutrition insecurity and strengthen the resilience of food systems in Ghana. I wish to express my sincerest gratitude to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the FSRP Ghana for putting together this important program. I say Akwaba to you all. Nana Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Ghana is an agrarian society which relies predominantly on agriculture. This is because the agricultural sector continues to be the anchor of the country's economy, employing more than half the nation's workforce. The agriculture sector, as we are all aware, is confronted today by new challenges such as the climate change, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, and frequent outbreak of animal disease. These negative factors constantly threaten our national food security by undermining efforts of government to advance its transformation agenda for the sector. Ghana's agriculture sector, like most countries in West Africa, is highly vulnerable to the impacts of the climate change. The country is already experiencing weather variability and climate change-induced hazards, including droughts, floods, extreme temperatures, and changes in rainy and dry seasons. These climate change-induced hazards have increased in frequency and intensified for the past few decades, and as a result, have adversely impacted food and nutrition security and livelihood of people, especially in the rural communities. Since majority of farmers in the country are subsistence and smallholders who are dependent on rain-fed agriculture, the increased frequency and intensity of extreme weather events pose a major threat to food security as it has shifted planting cycles, thereby making it difficult for farmers to plant. Nana Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the prescribed solutions for managing the impacts these counterproductive forces have on our food security is to build and strengthen existing food systems. As we are fully aware, a resilient food system can withstand and recover from disruption in a way that ensures a sufficient supply of acceptable and accessible food for all. It is gratifying to note that after carefully identifying the common natural phenomena that impede food production in the sub-region, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the World Bank Group has decided to coordinate efforts among its members nations to strengthen food system risk management in the sub-region by introducing the Food System Resilience Program. Ladies and gentlemen, the implementation of FSRP is particularly important for Ghana's food and nutrition security situation due to the uncertainty of the nature and severity of COVID-19 impacts across the agricultural value chain. Experiences from the COVID-19 pandemic where movement was restricted made it expedient to ensure every country obtains an appreciable level of food security and availability for the people. Consequently, the FSRP has come at a very opportune time. The Food System Resilience Program, which is being led by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture with the goal of addressing food and nutrition insecurity and strengthening the resilience of food systems in the country, will implement a combination of adaptive, innovative, and sustainable interventions This will equip households, families, farmers, and communities in the sub-region to endure uncertainty and shocks in food production and supply. Nana Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the theme for this program, Joining Forces for Food System Risk Management in West Africa, resonates deeply with our collective responsibility to safeguard food security, foster sustainable agricultural practices, and fortify our resilience against various risks. There is the need for governments, regional organizations, the private sector, academia, and civil society to work together to devise a comprehensive risk management strategy that is adaptable, inclusive, and sustainable. That let us join forces to build a strong framework that encourages innovation, empowers local farmers, increases production, and ensures that all Ghanaians have equitable access to nutritious food. This will undoubtedly supplement the government's effort to solve most of the difficulties that our farmers face. Nana Chairman, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to assure our donor partners that the various regional coordinating councils are fully committed to the success of this project and will do everything to ensure that the objectives of the projects are achieved. On this note, Nana Chairman, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I once again welcome you all to this program. I wish you well and best of deliberations and interactive sessions. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Regional Director, especially for the assurance you gave us at the end of your speech. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to use the washroom, please, when you get outside of the auditorium, to my right-hand side, you will find the washrooms. Epamacho, so be pesa oye ne hunye kakra, mufi edan we moa, mensani faso ha, mubehu se, baby a obeye hunye no ewo ho. Ye jidi se, ye nyina ebe kipini neat, sene ye koto no. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that we have been hearing FSRP. We've heard bits and snippets from the various speeches, but there is a man in our midst who is able to give us the overview and educate us more about this FSRP. He has been the team lead, leading specialist, and the consultants to develop this project we are about to launch. Let us welcome the project coordinator of FSRP Ghana, Mr. Osei Owusu Ajiman. Please, let's do it better for him.
Distinguished Chairman, representing Otumfuo Asantehene, Chamfuo Boachi Ajima Bunsu, Ashanti Regional Minister, Honorable Simon Osei Mensah, Tax Team Leader, World Bank, Madame Ashwini Sebastien, Acting Chief Director, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Paul Siame, Directors of the Ministry, Chief Executives and Directors of State Institutions, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to the Garden City of West Africa. We are one large regional family in West Africa, sojourned in a common neighborhood, and as a matter of providence, share together the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our borders and boundaries do not make any difference. What affects one affects all of us. We share same meals cooked in various innovative ways. We enjoy one another's music and dance accordingly. Our histories and festivals are intertwined. The underlying factors are all too familiar to us. We also share the same trade routes and roads to and from our common markets, from where we buy and sell the same staples, vegetables, and livestock. Unfortunately, Nana Chairman, same as we share our joys, we do share some unfavorable situations that run across our territories. We share common climatic conditions and natural phenomena which disrupt food production in the sub-region, including diseases and disasters, pests and pandemics, droughts and floods. The whole food system, from soil to market to consumption, is threatened one way or the other by conditions primarily beyond our control, but which can be surmounted if we weave our efforts and resources together. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, having identified these commonalities, found it expedient to coordinate efforts among its member states to strengthen food system risk management in the sub-region through the West African Food Resilience Program, FSRP, with funding from the World Bank, and that is the reason for which we are gathered here. Mr. Chairman, if you agree with me that if you mention ECOWAS, what comes to your mind is what peacekeeping. For once, ECOWAS is talking about agriculture and food. Shall we give them a hand? Now, in Ghana, FSRP is being implemented through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and its directorates, along with implementing partners, including the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, GIDA, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the Ghana Meteorological Authority, GMET, the West African Center for Crop Improvement, WACI, the World Vegetable Center, etc. The assigned operational areas cover 55 districts across 10 regions of Ghana. We focus on selected value chains, mainly rice, maize, soya beans, and poultry, specifically broilers. It is a $150 million project over a period of 5 years. Based on our experiences in similar endeavors, FSRP Ghana is anchored on 3 themes. 1, sustainability. 2, ownership. And 3, public-private engagement. Rotary talks about 4-way tests. FSRP talks about 3-way tests. Now, for every activity that we engage in, we will run the rule. How do we ensure that whatever activity, whatever that we build, it will not die after the project ends? Because that's the situation in our country. 2 years after a project, you go there, nothing happens. So sustainability is key. Second is ownership, that everything should be owned. That's a way of life. If
you look at, interestingly, I'm told that street lights and traffic lights, we always have a problem of who owns it. So the management is always a problem. Is it electricity? Is it RCC? Is it district assembly? Is it? So there's always a problem with managing street lights. So we want to insist on ownership. It can be government, it can be private, it can be public-private. But we should formalize it so that you can point to the person. The Food System Resilience Program, FSRP, is organized around 3 core components. The first one aims at strengthening national capacity to provide demand-driven digital advisory services. We need information. Farmers need information wherever they are, and it should be timely and relevant. That is why you find GMET here. We know GMET talks about weather, but FSRP is going to help them build capacity to be closer to the farmer, to be able to give information wherever the farmer is. We saw a map of Bosome Frehon at the exhibition. The farmer in Asiwa in Bosome Frehon should be able to have that information at any time so that it will help him in his planning. Component 2 talks about consolidating the regional agricultural innovation systems and strengthen regional food security through integrated land management. And that is where the issue of climate smart agriculture comes in. That you don't farm, in Kenya they say that don't farm like they are running away. Everywhere you go and you want to farm, you are part of the system. So make sure that the system survives. Don't go and throw your waste somewhere and other things. We want to ensure that everything is integrated, and that every activity seeks to rebuild the community as we found it. The third component aims at expanding food trade in West Africa to enable effective distribution of surplus produce to deficit regions. And now we've been trading across West Africa for years. Our mothers go to Niger for kotojwe, onions. People also come here. What we forget that there's been trading going on among West Africans for years. We should formalize it and take advantage of it. Because we are one people and we should be able to understand each other and trade. Because trade brings money. So these are the components, the main components of the FSRP. And Chairman, the following are some of the works that we intend to undertake within the project period. We want to re-engineer a total of about 7,000 hectares of inner valleys in Ashanti, Bono East and Eastern regions to enhance rice production. They are already farming, but we need to work with them to re-engineer the use of water and other resources so that they can achieve maximum output for their effort. We want to help them in land development, provision of irrigation facilities, construction of drying platforms, supply of improved climate-smart seeds. We want to promote the setting up of rice mills and AMSECs in these areas, and organize farmers into a viable farmer-based organizations. And finally, we want to formalize landowner-tenant relationships, so the farmer can be assured that for the next 10, 20 years, I have my peace of mind to farm. The next one, we want to rehabilitate some of the facilities which provide a needed background, technical background to agriculture. Example, there's Plant Genetic Resources Research Institute at Bunsu. It's a laboratory where all the genes of all our plants are supposed to be stored. This thing was built, I'm sure, in the 1960s. And now, the plants that you say are missing, Plant Genetic Resources Institute are supposed to keep all of them. But if you go there now, a refrigerator is even a problem. Yes, this is how, this is a refrigerator at Bunso Plant Genetic Resources Institute. This should be used to store fish. But this is where our plans, the plans that are made are supposed to be installed. We also want to rehabilitate the veterinary laboratory in Doma-Hinkro. Doma-Hinkro is a hub for poultry. We need a veterinary laboratory there to support the farmers. We do the same thing in the one in Accra. This is the state of the Doma-Hinkro and Accra. This is Accra. The Doma-Hinkro. This is the veterinary lab. And the FSRP, we are telling Ghanaians in the whole world that we are going to rebuild it into a first-class laboratory clinic to serve. We want to rebuild the Crop Research Institute laboratory in Kumasi to reposition itself as a center of excellence in West Africa. The Grains and Legumes Board laboratory in Kumasi, and I suppose it's on your land, also rebuilt. We want to look at the water irrigation scheme in the Volta region, a laboratory for the Savannah Agricultural Research Station in Tamale, the Tanoso irrigation scheme in Bono East, the Via irrigation scheme in Bongo District in Upper East, the second phase of the Pond irrigation scheme in Akuse, Eastern region, and we want to upgrade laboratory facilities of the ministry in selected border posts. As we talk about trade, it's supposed to be laboratory in every border station to be able to test food coming from Cote d'Ivoire or Togo or Burkina, both ways. All of them are broken down, and we intend to restore them as part of the trade amongst West Africa. We also want to upgrade some existing warehouses into model multipurpose facilities. We have other special projects. We are going to ensure all year-round production of tomatoes in the 3 climatic areas in Ghana: the Savannah, the Middle Belt, and the Coastal Savannah. We want to enhance poultry value chain to match competition from imports. And we want to support deserving value chain actors with matching grants, money, to boost their business. And finally, not the least, we want to build 20 weather stations to add on to what GMET has, so that they can be closer to our farmers. And now with all these inputs, paramount outcome that we expect is that we impact the lives of 300,000 direct beneficiaries, out of which 40% are expected to be women. A lot of work has been done and still ongoing in the implementation. Among them, a grievance review committee, of which Nana is a member representing Manshia, has been set up. And as we already said, this committee is made up of reputable figures and heads in our societies and communities. And their job is to ensure that they deal expeditiously with any dispute that may arise during implementation of FSRP. Disputes, they will come, but we have to deal with them. Anna Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the decision of the architects of FSRP to focus the project on sustainability as a critical element is to ensure actual adaptation which transcends the duration of the project. Your participation and insights will be of critical essence to guide the conduct of the project. We should not fail to pinch ourselves every day to the reality that families and communities far and near and of varying economic statuses are looking up to us to lead the way. in the defense against uncertainties and risk in production, distribution, and dishing of food from soil to sale to soup. Nana, this is my story. Thank you.
If I turn here, the rain beats me. If I turn here, the rain beats me. And if I turn there, the sun burns me. I borrow these words respectfully from the late Kofi Awuno and his songs of sorrow. Although not intended for our global warming predicament, I find they are coincidentally significant to the matter of climate change. For we are indeed being burnt and beaten. Our own actions are the reason, and our actions can bring solution. Our own actions are the reason, and our actions can bring solution. In the words of Kofi Annan on the situation, we often don't fully appreciate that it is a problem. We think it is a problem waiting to happen. But climate change is a problem, and climate change is happening, and we must take action. Ghana must take action if we are to prevent a possible 40% reduction in the income of already poor households, lowering of agriculture yields and labor productivity across the plains and people and promise of our great country. Ghana must take action if we are to prevent an additional 1 million Ghanaians from being plunged into poverty by the year 2050. And Ghana can take action through targeted interventions in agriculture, forestry, waste, transport, energy, and by enabling private sector-led green growth and leveraging climate finance, governments can take the lead. The pursuit of development and the attainment of climate objectives need not be mutually exclusive. As we walk and work side by side, both can happen in our stride. Choosing a low-carbon development pathway that is climate resilient can make a remarkable difference and bring in large economic benefits in the process. By turning every climate change challenge into an opportunity, Ghana can look forward to the hopeful possibility of a 4% higher GDP by the year 2040. We as a nation are still in the privileged position of being able to take meaningful, impactful, critical action by way of climate transition, resulting in vulnerability reduction and lowering poverty impacts of climate shocks. 4 key things are required now. 4 key things that are well within our power. 1. Improving financial fundamentals on all levels. 2. Fair and inclusive greening of our economy. 3. Creating decent work opportunities. 4. Making sure that all who call Ghana home are part of the solution so that we leave behind absolutely no one. The cost of climate action is estimated at $2 billion annually in present term value until the year 2050. The cost of Ghana's present and posterity into the year 2050 and infinity, priceless. The brain is wider than the sky. For put them side by side, the one the other will contain with ease, and you decide. The brain is deeper than the sea. For hold them blue to blue, the one the other will absorb as sponges, buckets do. I doubt climate change was at the heart of these lines when Emily Dickinson wrote them circa 1862. But I do find them especially true, as life has proven many times. For there are very few changes or challenges in the highest heights of the firmaments, or the deepest depths of the seas, or the vastness of life in between, to which the brain has not found solution. And climate change need not be the exception. Whatever we start, stop, substitute, or sustain as we communally combat climate change affects you and affects me, now that we are the present and will go on to affect all who come after us as we become the past. If I turn here, the rain beats me. If I turn there, the sun burns me. Ghana, I plead, let us take action.
The theme flows through, doesn't it? You heard the project coordinator saying earlier, talking about the commonalities in the region, drought and diseases and disasters, flies and floods, pests and pandemics all over. And you were also saying something earlier, right?
Yes. I also said earlier that we are joining forces in the West African level. And here to give us greater insight into that is Mr. Gasu Diarra. Mr. Diarra is an environmental safeguard expert, and he has a PhD in natural resources and environmental management. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Diarra.
Bonjour tout le monde. The coordinators told me to say that everybody should soon learn French. Donc, with your permission, Your Royal Majesty, I'll try to pronounce it well. Akomfor Asufo Boaki, Agyemani Bonsu, Chairman representing Atumfo Asante Hini. Your Excellency, Minister of Food and Agriculture of Ghana, Mr. Country Director of the World Bank in Ghana, Madame the Task Team Leader of SRP at the World Bank representation in Ghana, representative of technical and developer partners, Mr. National Coordinator of SRP in Ghana, ladies and gentlemen, member of the National FSRP Implementation Team, representative of National Partner Institution for the implementation of FSRP, ladies and gentlemen, representative of producers and processors group benefiting from FSRP Ghana, distinguished guests in your ranks and quality, all protocol respected. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me first of all to present the apology of Mr. Alain C. Traoré, the Director of Agriculture and Rural Development of ECOWAS, and Dr. Matiba Diao, Regional Coordinator of FSRP, who, due to conflicting schedules, were unable to be here to attend this important meeting. On this day, when we're officially launching the West Africa Food System Resilience Program for Ghana, I would like to welcome you all, honorable guests, and thank you for coming despite your busy schedules. I would like to take this opportunity to thank most sincerely the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the government of Ghana, and particularly the Minister of Food and Agriculture, His Excellency Brian Achupong, whose commitment has made it possible to facilitate and accelerate the establishment of SRP for Ghana. I am pleased to associate with these thanks the World Bank, the main donor of FSRP, whose support and advice combined with the effort of the participating countries and regional institutions under the leadership of ECOWAS, resulted in the development of this important regional program. Nana Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the FSRP makes it possible to provide adequate responses to the persistent food and nutrition crisis in our region caused by a combination of interdependent factors, namely climate change, environmental degradation, epidemics, pandemics, the volatility of food prices, as well as increasing incidence of fragility, conflict, and violence. It is therefore a flagship program which aims to increase preparedness against food insecurity and improve the resilience of food system in participating countries while contributing to the prevention and management of agricultural and food crises by strengthening resilience and agro-pastoral production system. It also aims to help facilitate trade in agricultural goods and input within a cross-national border in West Africa. On the operational level, the FSRP has adopted a multi-phase programmatic approach. The first phase of the program, which began in January 2022, covers 4 countries: Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Togo. And the regional action are coordinated by ECOWAS, SILS, and CORAF. The second phase, which began in 2023, includes 3 countries: Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Chad. Ultimately, FSRP, the goal is to achieve the full regional coverage. Of the 5 components of FSRP, one of them, component 4, allows intervention for contingent emergency and constitutes the financing mechanism for eligible expenditure in the event of emergency caused by natural disaster. To this end, I would like to pay tribute to the speed with which the Ghanaian authorities mobilized to deal with the flooding in the towns around the Volta River. Through the FSRP, Ghana requested $40 million in funding for the World Bank to support around 26,000 farmers in the Volta region who lost their farmland when the Akosombo Dam overflowed. This support has helped the government to restore the livelihood of the worst affected farmers. In addition to these emergency actions, the investment planned in the technical component 2 and 3 will make it possible to improve productivity and agricultural production and strengthen the resilience of priority value chain in Ghana and also in the other participating countries. Nana Chairman, Excellency Minister, ladies and gentlemen, what is the role that ECOWAS plays in the implementation of FSRP? At the regional level, FSRP is implemented by SILS, as you just said, the coordinator, for the component 1, CORAF for the component 2, and ECOWAS for component 3 and 5. ECOWAS monitors and coordinates the overall implementation of the FSRP. The program is supervised by a regional steering committee which meets once a fiscal year to ensure the consistency of the program's activity with the vision and the project and programs of the beneficiaries. For ECOWAS, the program's coordination institution, the FSRP is a unique tool that will strengthen regional integration by facilitating regional trade in food products as well as exchange of technology and innovation and the mobility of researchers and stakeholders between countries, which will contribute considerably to the implementation of ECOWAP, the regional agricultural policy, and thus accelerate the transformation of the agriculture sector in the sub-region. The regional coordination of FSRP therefore remain available to provide institutional and technical support to each stakeholder and partner to ensure the success of the program. With the dynamic of regional level and the countries, a great quantity of knowledge has been generated which must be made known and contribute to scaling up and reaching more than 5 million beneficiaries of the program, among which 40% are women. In addition, there are almost 1 million actors in the food system having access to hydro and agrometeorological advisory services, and more than 400,000 hectares of land are under integrated landscape management practice, with at least 2.9 million producers adopting climate-smart agricultural technology and services. Nana Chairman, Excellency Minister, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the expected results are significant and the challenges of achieving them are daunting. The first beneficiary countries of FSRP have the obligation to succeed in encouraging other ECOWAS countries to join the group. We must persevere on this path and get down to implementing the planned actions which will undoubtedly strengthen the resilience of the beneficiaries. They will also contribute to the transformation of the agro-silvopastoral and fishery sector, which are the bedrock of our economies, and those contribute to the economic integration and food sovereignty in Sahel region. Before ending my remark, I would like to reiterate my thanks to the Ghanaian Authority and the National Coordination for FSRP, and reaffirm the commitment of ECOWAS to fully play its role within the framework of this regional initiative that is FSRP. Long live regional coordination. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Merci, Monsieur Diarra. Ms. Sebastian will be here in a moment to stand in for the World Bank Country Director, but let me say a little something. I want to say a little something about him, right? You know, growing up, my imagination about a World Bank Country Director was a bit nice. As in, he will have an office about the size of this room with a hot tub somewhere here, maybe with cigar about this size at the left corner of his lips. But this World Bank Country Director was different. He's the man on the ground. I took notes. Recently, he went around to inspect FSRP areas and projects that are going to be improved. I took note. Yeah. The right and left banks of Pond Dam, the Pond Irrigation Scheme at Asuchuari, and then at Akuse.
There are pictures.
Yeah. So yeah, he was at Asuchuari, and he was learning from rice farmers, the ladies, how to dry rice. Okay, so this is someone on the ground, it's not just in the office. Yeah, you have something about him too?
Yes. He is called Mr. Pierre Laporte. He is the World Bank Country Director for Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, based in Accra, Ghana. He leads the bank's strategic dialogue and supports the implementation of the Africa region's priorities. Unfortunately, he isn't able to be here because of last-minute engagement. But on his behalf, we have Dr. Ashwini Sebastian, who is a senior economist managing the World Bank Agriculture Portfolio for Ghana, and also the task team leader for FSRP. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Ashwini to the podium to give us the World Bank statement.
Mr. Chairman, I will not attempt to say your name like my braver colleagues. Representative of the Otumfo Asantehene, Honorable Simon Osei Mensah, Regional Minister of the Ashanti, representatives of the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Acting Chief Director of MOFA, Mr. Paul Siame, and other ministries, representatives of ECOWAS and the regional organizations, FSRP Project Coordinator, and members of the PIU, representatives of technical implementing partners and research partners, representatives of farmers, processors, agribusinesses, other groups benefiting from FSRP in Ghana, the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is really my distinct pleasure to be here representing Pierre Laporte, the country director, who really sends his regrets. In fact, he was supposed to be here. He was almost catching the flight and then wasn't able to be here, so it was very last minute. For the launch of the West Africa Food Systems Resilience Program for Ghana in collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And this is immediately following the National Farmers' Day that just happened on the 1st of December. So agriculture is a pillar of Ghana's economy, and it's really critical for World Bank investments in the past and also moving forward. The World Bank recognizes the importance of agriculture in the same way as your own government of Ghana. I'm sure you know your Ghana Cares program and the country's medium-term development strategy. They have all prioritized agriculture and agribusiness. In fact, even in the annual budgets, which I know are going on as we speak, agriculture is really prioritized. So to increase productivity and fast-track economic recovery and create decent employment. And this is also reflected in the World Bank Country Partnership Framework, which spans 2022 to 2026. So the global food and nutrition crisis triggered by high prices is driving millions into extreme poverty, magnifying hunger and malnutrition, and threatening to erase hard-won gains in development. For Ghana, the opportunity is here to transform its agriculture and food system to serve the needs of Ghanaians here on the ground, but also there is a huge opportunity to serve as a breadbasket for the region with Ghana, with all of the favorable conditions that it faces, and also to create globally competitive, revenue-generating export commodities as well. This is the time to take urgent action to ease the impact of high food prices, which I know some of you sitting here are probably facing, and to ensure the most vulnerable have access to food, while at the same time building resilience. There can be no food security until we transform Ghana's food system. In the past, we have invested significantly with the government of Ghana in agriculture, in increasing access to reliable water, that is irrigation, land, access to finance, agricultural input and output markets, public-private partnerships, and inter- and intra-regional trade, all while collaborating on policies, adapting to climate change, preserving the environment, and embracing marginalized populations. Our collaboration with Government of Ghana, MOFA, and has been especially fruitful and long-standing. I am sure, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen here present, you can recall the predecessor project to the FSRP, which was also financed by the World Bank, and that is the West Africa Agriculture Productivity Program, that is better known as WAP. I don't know if anyone here can recall it, but it's a stepwise progression in terms of agriculture development that we are hoping to invest in. And more recently, we also successfully closed the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project. And it is really almost the same implementing entity that implemented GCAP that is now implementing FSRP. So they are bringing a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. To that I will say that we have told, the project coordinator, I see him smiling, and many others. Sometimes people say to us, what did GCAP achieve? What did it achieve? And I think the fault there is not that it did not achieve anything. They achieved a lot It is that they didn't necessarily speak it out. You know, it was quietly done work. So to mention some of the achievements, the GCAP project impacted at least 240,000 beneficiaries. As Earl was saying, recently we went to the Pong area with the country director, and he got to witness some of the impacts of the GCAP project, which will be continued through FSRP. They contributed to 9,312 hectares of improved irrigation, established 40 water user associations, which I understand are still currently functional, which is amazing. And then also they brought in 11,900 hectares under commercial agriculture arrangements, which is also a push forward among many other of their accomplishments. So Chairman, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and the gallant farmers of the Republic, and all the agriculture value chain actors, some of whom I have had the pleasure of getting to know. Edith, I see you there, so yeah. Anyway, we stand with you. We are committed to making the Food Systems Resilience Program in Ghana a success. We all aim to ensure that these resources, the 150 million of the project, are used in the most efficient way to reach its intended beneficiaries. Directly and indirectly, it's over 1 million beneficiaries that it intends to use. I think you've heard all of the speakers say 40% are expected to be women. And the expansion in the irrigation in Pong, Vea, Weta, Tanoso schemes, and the inland valleys. To increase adoption of climate-smart technologies and services by nearly 250,000 farmers. That is some of the innovation that the chairman was talking about. I think, you know, we really need to bring that innovation aspect. And I'm happy to say that with PFJ as well, and with the Ghana Agriculture Agribusiness Platform, that is one of the areas that we hope to address and support as well. And then bring thousands of hectares of land under sustainable landscape management practices. I want to say, have no doubt, we are here with boots on the ground. We are not operating as a satellite from Washington, D.C. or somewhere. We want to work together, and we promise to resolve any grievances, any issues that arise over the course of the project. We do not want a situation where the project closes and then the activity in that area ends. So sustainability is really key. Food and nutrition security and agriculture resilience, these are all key aspects. The Food Systems Resilience Program is also critical for supporting the country's research institutions. And you heard from Mr. Chairman that when we went around visiting, one of the points was that there should be greater collaboration between MOFA and the research institutions, and that is what FSRP is really promoting. To my colleagues from ECOWAS, as well as CORAF and SILS, we thank you for your collaboration with us, and we look forward to that. We look forward to bringing regional knowledge, regional technology, dissemination of ideas, interregional trade, so managing all of those aspects. Distinguished Chairman, the World Bank continues to show solidarity and commitment towards supporting MOFA's vision for food and agriculture. We have remained flexible in adapting even through the FSRP to support Ghana's Planting for Food and Jobs 2.0. As you know, we are reorienting support to scaling up in areas like delivering feed inputs and 2 million day-old chicks for expansion of broiler production and processing, which is a key area of PFJ 2.0. And we have provided agile solutions for those that are already under implementation. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the words of late Kofi Annan, food is national security, food is economy, it is employment, energy, history, and food is everything. Let me take the opportunity to thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Regional Director, and the FSRP team, Project Implementing Unit, for their efforts towards making the program in Ghana a success. In closing, agriculture matters for reducing poverty, feeding our populations, and delivering a livable planet. And this is one of my favorite quotes in the words of Mahatma Gandhi. There are people in the world so hungry that God cannot appear to them except in the form of bread. So let's make food security and resilience a priority for Ghana. And I'm trying to say this, medase pa.
Thank you so much, Ashwini. Indeed, sustainability is key. And I believe that FSRP is pleased to be associated with the World Bank. The next person I'm going to introduce is such a pure gem. She's a living proof that what men can do, can you finish this for me? What men can do, women can do and do better. So she is the CEO of a successful integrated poultry company in Ghana and is well known for her support of women, her advocacy for youth empowerment, as well as people living with disabilities, and her commitment to taking concrete steps through her livelihood programs to ensure that rural children have access to good nutrition in school. Her enterprise consists of a poultry farm with 100,000 chickens, a processing facility, and commercial feed milling companies. The newest product line from Rockland Farms, Akoko Tasty, is currently Ghana's most popular packaged locally produced pre-cut chicken. In keeping women and youth at the center of her business, Edith supports over 9,000 smallholder farmers, with over 90% of them being women and youth. These farmers receive input, technical support, equipment, and seed money to mobilize savings and lending among themselves in order to sustainably and profitably cultivate maize, as well as improve their livelihoods. Edith Whitland is Ghana's current national best female farmer. I thought you would clap to that. She also is co-awardee of the Feed the Future Accelerating Women Entrepreneurs Prize for Promising Business Ventures in 2018. I simply love Edith. I have never met her, but I am in love with her already. Can we please welcome Edith to share her story with us? Please.
Good afternoon. I stand on earlier protocols to present my speech. I'm happy to be part of this discussion to help launch a critical strategy to combat food insecurity in Ghana and throughout West Africa. The event team, joining forces for food system risk management in Africa. It strikes me as an appropriate, and I hope it will spur all partners to work more creatively, urgently, cooperatively to support farmers in feeding the nation. To be honest, we have never lived in a society where the resources of a single organization like the World Bank or other regional blocs are adequate to address every global economic crisis in a single industry, including agriculture. More so given since there is a wider than divide, even divide between the infrastructure and resources available to food producers and population is growing. There has never been a more important moment to establish a shared agreement between the public and private sectors, as well as with the agricultural sector. Example of such partnership is the FSRP, through which the World Bank is collaborating with regional organizations like ECOWAS, CORAF, and SILS at the regional and national implementation institutions as the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, MOTI, GIDA, GMED, CSR, financial service providers, and among others to promote investment in long-term food security solutions and scale agriculture initiatives that assist farmers. I'm sure a lot of people will share my perspective that Africa is the best place right now to make this kind of investment. In Ghana alone, hundreds of poultry farmers lost their farms and their means of subsistence not too long ago. As you are all aware, the beginning of Russia and Ukraine war caused an extremely sharp increase in grain prices. This occurred right after global food, fuel, and fertilizer costs began to skyrocket as a result of COVID-19. Hard-working farmers who had to make the difficult decision of either sell their birds for a low price or watch them perish. Not because they wanted to give up their livelihood, but because they watched their birds go without feeding for days. These farmers if these farmers will ever recover from their losses, only time will tell. These harsh realities shouldn't be dismissed as a historical occurrences. Rather, we should fortify our resolve and dedication to reducing the risk to the food system in a way that is just, equitable, and sustainable for both small and large farmers. As one of the top female entrepreneurs in the poultry sector, I get to collaborate with a wide range of partners around the nation, including groups, individuals, support organizations such as SMV 2Scale, AGRA, USAID, MFA, GTI, MSR, and partner businesses to achieve our company's lofty objectives of becoming an impact-driven enterprise. The women's and the youth groups' efforts and their engagement in our supply chain continue to provide remarkable outcomes for our stakeholders nationwide. The foundation of our maize outgrower business is made up of more than 8,000 small maize holder farmers that work within the Rockland Farm supply chain. The company provides them with ready markets, training support, and advise them that help them grow their businesses. Approximately 200 outgrower groups currently within the supply chain operate village savings and loan groups, contributing $170,000 annually. Nearly 3,000 young people are empowered through employment and entrepreneurial avenues by the company at different levels, primarily in the marketing and processing of chicken, as well as provision of value chain services. Our micro-vendor scheme also makes sure that rural women are catered to. These women work as marketing agents for specific cuts of our chicken products in small towns and villages, giving them jobs and supplying last-mile customers with high-quality, locally produced chicken. The FSRP initiative's effective deployment of resources will ensure women farmers and young Ghanaians are not only not only have a strong presence in the communities where we operate, but also advance the development of inclusive production and marketing systems in places like Ankamadua and Agona, a small town and a village in Ashanti region that hosts the majority of our operations. The Rockland team wishes the project every success as it gets underway and pledges unflinching support towards its sustainability. At this point, I leave a message for everyone to take home. It is no longer enough to leave the business of feeding the nation in the hands of farmers alone. Every economic actor must get involved. Thank you.
Edith indeed is an inspiration to all women. When I hugged her, she said, "I don't look like a farmer, but I'm a farmer." Right. So we'll have the Ashanti Regional Minister to give us the keynote address. But before he joins me, please listen to me as I read his profile. Honorable Simon Osei Mensah is a native of Jache in the Bosomtwi constituency of the Ashanti region. He holds a master's in economics, finance, and banking option, and certificate in bank management. Honorable Osei Mensah worked as a mathematics and economics tutor at the Adebi Commercial Institute. He then worked as credit officer at ADB head office and later made branch manager at Goso and Takoradi in Brongahafo and Western regions, respectively. He entered mainstream politics in 2004 when he represented the people of Bosomtwi constituency as the Member of Parliament for 3 consecutive terms. Honorable Osei Mensah, whilst in Parliament of Ghana, also voted to the ECOWAS Parliament in 2008, where he was voted to the position of the 4th Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament from 2013 to 2015. In Ghana Parliament, Honorable Osei Mensah served on several committees and later became the Vice Chairman, Ashanti Caucus of Parliament. Outside Parliament, he served on several boards and professional bodies and has membership of a number of professional bodies. Honorable Simon Osei Mensah is currently the Ashanti Regional Minister. Please let's give it up for our Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Achamfo Asafo Boachi Ajima Bonsu, Asafo Hine and Akwamuhine of the Kumasi Traditional Council, representing Otumfo Seitu to the second, the Asante Hine, the country director and other senior officials of the World Bank, representative of ECOWAS, director and various directors of MUFA, representatives of the ministries, departments, and agencies, the project coordinator, FSRP, other cherished farmers, and other value chain actors. My good friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I stand here today, I'm not standing here as the regional minister, but I'm rather representing the Minister for Food and Agriculture, who have wished very much to be with us. But unfortunately, there are some serious and urgent considerations at the Parliament of Ghana, for which all members of Parliament have been recalled from any other activity to be present at Parliament. So I'm going to read his address for and on his behalf. It was my pleasure to deliver the keynote address at the launch of the West African Food Systems Resilience Program,
The government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in collaboration with ECOWAS, is pleased to be implementing the second phase of the West African Food Systems Resilience Program, FSRP2, under the World Bank multi-phase programmatic approach. The objective of SRP is to strengthen regional food systems risk management, improve the sustainability of the productive base in targeted areas, and to develop regional agricultural markets. Resilience in the agricultural sector has become important in the face of climate change risk and other external factors that affect the sector. Madam Chair, the agricultural sector remains a key driver of Ghana's economy, employing over 38.3% of the total workforce and accounting for approximately 20% of the national gross domestic product over the past 6 years, spanning from 2017 to 2022. In spite of successes achieved, the sector still experiences a number of challenges that hamper food systems resilience. The COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war make it imperative to shore up resilience of the country's food systems. Our commitment to collaborate efforts with sister nations in the sub-region is reflected in our agricultural policies. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture, through its agencies and allied institutions, collaborates with the West and Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development and the Permanent Interstate Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel areas. This reaffirms the importance we attach to regional cooperation in agricultural development. The successes of previous collaborative regional agricultural programs, like the West African Agricultural Productivity Program, have demonstrated the strength we derive from unity and shared goals. Nana Chair, resilience in the context of food systems refers to the ability to withstand shocks and stresses while maintaining functionality, adaptability, and sustainability. Resilience affords farmers and their households the ability to withstand and recover from shocks that may affect their agricultural enterprise. Within the West African sub-region, several factors influence the resilience of food systems, such as climate change and environmental-related effects, technology and innovation, market access and trade, food delivery, food diversity, and nutrition. The outcome of the United Nations Food Systems Summit, which was held in September 2021, provided a historic opportunity to leverage the power of food systems to drive recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic and to get countries and regions back on track to achieving all the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by the year 2030. After the UNFSS, countries were to develop national strategies for more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable food systems. MOFA, in collaboration with the National Development Planning Commission, is developing a food system strategy and investment plan. Ladies and gentlemen, a comprehensive review of the first phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs flagship program in April this year has culminated in the introduction of the second phase of the PFJ, dubbed PFJ2. The successes of Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 1 were evident in increased fertilizer and certified seed utilizations and the adoption of good agronomic practices by farmers. The PFJ2 will shift from direct input subsidy to a smart agricultural input credit system linked to structured market arrangements. This intervention will eliminate barriers for access or accessing credit, increase productivity and production, stabilize food prices, promote commercial agriculture, and ultimately improve food security and resilience. The FSRP is well aligned with the PFJ2 in its commitment to strengthening food security and resilience promoting sustainable practices, and leveraging digital technologies for the benefit of our farmers and communities. Since my tenure as the Minister responsible for Food and Agriculture, we have diligently pursued creating a roadmap for food security and resilience, emphasizing the entire value chain and implementing a robust import substitution program. A thorough sector analysis revealed immense potential that, if properly harnessed, could lead to the realization of these objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, with the production of rice, for example, data showed improvement in various areas. However, we are not at self-sufficiency level. The PFJ2 intends to achieve self-sufficiency in rice within the program implementation period. Other commodities targeted under the program include maize, soya, sorghum, cassava, yam, plantain, tomatoes, onions, chili, pepper, and poultry. The PFJ2 has been crafted as a bold and innovative approach. The input credit system, a cornerstone of the PFJ2, addresses critical challenges such as access to credit, quality agro inputs, unstructured markets, and low mechanization. This system will eliminate the need for upfront financing for land development and preparation, seeds, and fertilizers, making commercial farming more accessible. Nana Chair, the West African Food System Resilience Program comes at an opportune time, especially in the face of uncertainties posed by climate change, the effects of the Russia-Ukraine war, and the impact of COVID-19 across agricultural value chain. The FSRP is designed to empower vulnerable households, families, communities, and food systems within our nation to face uncertainty, respond effectively to shocks, and recover in a sustainable manner. Ladies and gentlemen, the FSRP is organized around 5 core distinct but interrelated components: improving digital advisory services to support timely agriculture and food crisis prevention and management, sustainability and adaptive capacity of Ghana's food systems productive base, enhancing regional food market integration and agricultural inputs and output trade, contingency, emergency response, and project management. Ladies and gentlemen, the FSRP will contribute to the efforts made by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to promote food systems resilience within the country. I would like to thank the World Bank for their continued support to the ministry and the agricultural sector of this country. Nana Chair, rightfully, the theme for this event is joining forces for food systems risk management in West Africa. Consistent with this, I call on all players in the value chain, civil society, private sector, financial institutions, research and academia, traditional leaders, and the youth to join forces with us to tackle food systems risk. In conclusion, I thank you all for your unwavering support to building a resilient and sustainable future for our food systems, ensuring food security for current and future generations. At this point, on behalf of the Minister for Food and Agriculture, FSRP team, all major stakeholders, I warmly declare the FSRP program duly launched. Thank you, and may the Almighty God bless us all. Thank you.
Are we not happy about this launch? Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your unwavering support. I see in the crowd Boris B. Can you give us a wave? Thank you for being here. Nana Chair, Yebu baby say a penny kasa, a penny dwaria, name Siasa. But Nana Wadaroma, ye best say, Uma closing remarks we are, ye best Reverend Augustus Harry, now a baby my in closing prayer. Na Wadaroman's not a same way the man can, Same Hunto me. You know, the date of your installment coincides with my birthday. And so, as Nana celebrates his anniversary, I will also be joining him in celebrating my birthday. Nana me ba no weshira me. Me da say.
Honorable Minister, coming back again to thank you all for participating in this launch. The World Bank's tax team leader, we are very grateful that you're here to grace this occasion. We're also very grateful to our colleague from the ECOWAS sub-region that joined us in the launch. We also are grateful to our own project manager for the SRP and all the participants. I think one thing that I liked was the exhibition. About the launch of the program, the opportunity to see what people are really doing. That is what we really should appreciate. It is the transformation that we're looking for. And I saw, even though there were few exhibitors, but very impressive exhibition. And we're very grateful to you all for making it possible and joining us here today. We thank you very much for your presence here. Always, Kumasi welcomes everybody that wants to join us. It's the only city that you hear Amunaga, Fanti New Town, and those things. You don't get it in any city. We welcome everybody in our midst. And therefore, we are very pleased to have you here this morning to launch this very impactful project. We listened to all the speakers, and we learned a lot that this project is seeking to achieve food system security and resilience. And we all know, I was also looking at the short clip that the lady talking about climate change, was it poetry or whatever that she was making, quite impressive. But I'm saying this because what we saw from that short clip tells us the reality on the ground. And therefore, working together, as has come across today, as partners, is the only answer to addressing the food insecurity, but also ensuring food system resilience. So I thank you all very much for a wonderful morning, afternoon, and wish you all safe travels back home. Have a nice day.
Piao, Nana, that's it. So would call upon Reverend Augustus Harry Awachi to come and end it for us just as he started.
I believe we have all been touched one way or the other, and we've been given hope that every effort is being made into ensuring that we have food security. Because without food, we are dead. Everybody must put his bit into it. Shall we bring the section to an end? Incidentally, on the Regional Grievance Committee with Nana, so we all took part in that workshop, and we were thrilled They made sure they had camped us for the 3-4 days, made sure we will not leave the place, and we enjoyed every bit of it. So our support is with the FSRP. And the regional minister said, I'm taking you away from your home. Don't go back there until you finish. And I agreed. So I will be on our feet as we say thank you to God for the section, for all that has been done. God has been good to us. We have hope. There's that assurance that it's not just an individual effort all across the West African region. We work together and ensure that there's food security. Father, we are again thankful to you. Thank you for knowledge, for people you have equipped to ensure that that which you gave us from creation will not go waste. We're praying that, Lord, all that comes to us by way of knowledge will be put to full use. Lord, that at the end of it all, humanity will be saved. At the end of it all, wastage will be minimized. At the end of it all, every resource given to us will be utilized properly. Now, as we come to the end of the section, again committing ourselves to you as your people depart. Those traveling, Lord, grant them traveling mercies. At the end of it, or what has gone on today, will continually be with us. We're thankful to you. Now, beloved, may you depart here in peace. With the peace of God that passes all human understanding, keep your hearts and minds and take you safely back home. In the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please, may we all be seated and wait for Nana and the dignitaries to leave before we take our leave. So please, let's all be seated. And the exhibition continues outside. So when we leave here, let's take advantage and then interact with the exhibitors. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for making time. I am Mame Ama Santwa Ajim, and I have been the MC, the co-MC for today's event. I did this with Earl Ankra. Thank you.
And we'll keep it
You might go.